Hey y'all, what's up? Joe Bizzle289 here. Today we're going to be talking about CES 2019, and this is going to be kind of a recap video of what happened this year. So what is CES? Well, CES is a tech manufacturer showcase where the manufacturers get to show what they're going to be doing for the year, and this year was pretty interesting to say the least. So Corsair showcased their Corsair One. And basically the features go, you can have a Core i7-8700 all the way up to a Core i9-9900X or 9920X, excuse me. And it's going to come with a GTX 2080 or 2080 Ti, and it can come in B360 Micro ATX, an X299 Mini ITX, and the Z370 Mini ITX form factor. And then it's going to have 16 gigabytes, 2666 megahertz Corsair Vengeance RGB, or you can go 2x16 gigabyte, or you can go 4x8 gigabyte. And then really interestingly, I thought was that it's going to come with a 2 terabyte 5400 RPM standard, standard basic hard drive, no solid state, which is kind of like the huge push right now. So that was odd that I saw that. But I mean, price ranges are going to range from $23.99 up to $49.99. So I mean, if you're looking for something that's kind of semi-portable, it's very, very small, very tall. I'll put a picture up on it over top of my ugly mug here. So I mean, it's kind of portable, and miniature. That's kind of a push lately in the computing world is mini stuff. But so that's Corsair in a nutshell. So if you're interested for something like that, there you go. All right, so now we're on to AMD, and I think they came out swinging this year with their showcase. They have a very tough task ahead of them. They're competing in two markets. They're competing in the graphics market and the processor market, which is no easy task for a company, because you have NVIDIA, their sole focus is mainly graphics. And then you have Intel, they're doing a lot of stuff, but their main focus is processors. So, you have this one company that's competing against these two tech giants, and they're doing a heck of a job. But so their first product that they showcased this year was the Radeon 7. It's a new graphics card. So Radeon 7 nanometer technology, coming out on February 7th at $700, kind of a 7 thing there. So it's going to have 3840 strand processors, 16 gigabytes of memory. 16 gigabytes. That's insane. I remember back in the days of 128 megabytes. So my little brain is just going crazy right now. That's HBM2 memory. They're talking 1 terabyte a second of memory bandwidth, and obviously it's going to be AMD FreeSync. Now we're going to switch over to the processor market here that they came out with. What they're going to be releasing the Ryzen 3rd Gen. Now, if you don't know what Ryzen is, you should look up what AMD Ryzen is, but it's a fantastic processor. It's really putting the punches to Intel here. And so I currently have an AMD Ryzen 2600 processor, Ryzen 5 2600, and that thing is just smoking. I love it. It does what it needs to do. But so the Ryzen 3rd Gen, it's going to go from Ryzen 3 up to Ryzen 7. So Ryzen 3 at 3300, or Ryzen 3 3300 to Ryzen 7 3700X. And those are going to be $99 to $329 in the price range. But then here's the kicker. We got Ryzen 9. Ryzen 9 at 3850X, and that's going to be priced at about $499. Now, and again, this is speculation. It's just kind of all over the marketplace, but it's going to be released in mid-2019. So this summer, which is amazing. And I'm super excited for it. The top processor speed that I've seen so far is 5.1 gigahertz at a base clock. I mean, you can just imagine the overclocking potential right there. So AMD too came out, and they didn't pull any punches, and they showed their Cinebench scores with whatever processor that they use, whatever Ryzen 3rd Gen processor that they used, and they scored a 2023. Now, to put that in perspective, the Intel Core i9-9900X or 9900K scored an 1873. So that's 2023 versus an 1873. And then they even put themselves up there with the Ryzen 7 2700X at 1798. Now, to put that even more in perspective, my Ryzen 5 2600 scored a 1432. So they're leaps and bounds above what I did. But, you know, they probably have some kind of special, you know, wizardry that they did. But anyway, I'm getting off track. That's going to be an AM4 socket. Again, mid-2019 with prices ranging from $99 up to $499 and fairly affordable. Okay, so now we're going to go on to NVIDIA here. And NVIDIA's big thing has always been trying to put the punches and put the pressure onto AMD because NVIDIA has the market share. You know, they just do. They're great cards. I'm not going to lie about that. They are fantastic cards. Very expensive, but you know, they're top of the line. You know, good parts aren't cheap and cheap parts aren't good. You know, you can't fault them. So their big thing this year is they're trying to get RTX being affordable. So what they did is they decided to come out with the GTX 2060 RTX, and that's coming in at $349. To put that in perspective, the AMD just released the RX 590 at $279. So for $60-ish more, you get a brand new card with RTX support available. And RTX right now is only available on Battlefield 5. That's the only game that's currently supporting it. But the cool thing about the promotion right now for the GTX 2060 is that it comes with Battlefield 5 or Anthem. And if you don't know what Anthem is, I would suggest you check it out. I'll tell you what, I'll put a link in the description below so you can check out Anthem. I'm super excited about it. That's one of the games that I really want to try out this year. So back to the card, it's going to be a Turing GPU, boost clock of 1680, frame buffer of 6 gigabytes, DDR5, memory speed of 14 gigabits per second, 1920 CUDA cores, 5 gig arrays a second, and then 160 watts is what the power supply or power draw is going to be. That's pretty impressive for a card. 160 watts, 8-pin connector, only a 2-slot, so we're not seeing these three slot cards. You know, so you know if space is an issue for your case, you know, 2-slot is a good in the middle there. And they're saying that the max temp that they got on it was 88 degrees Celsius. You know, we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes. But one thing here that I want to touch base on is that recently NVIDIA announced that they're going to be FreeSync compatible. That's AMD technology. So why is that important? Well, what I think is that they're feeling the pressure from AMD on the FreeSync stuff because they have their own stuff which is called G-Sync, and that's, if you don't know what that is, that's basically where the refresh rate of the monitor and the GPU lock together, so you can keep a constant refresh rate on your frames per second, and you eliminate screen tearing and a whole bunch of other issues, and so you get a smoother gameplay. So why do I think it's important? I think it's important because they're adopting the technology. NVIDIA is adopting this AMD technology here. And I think that's huge for AMD. I think that's a huge win. It's kind of like, you know, back in the days when it was Sony versus Xbox, and they're coming out with the Ultra HD or the whatever it was, I can't remember. But ultimately, it was the other format that won. And so Microsoft had put all its eggs in the box on the Ultra HD, and it did not work. It may not be Ultra HD, but whatever. So I thought that was pretty interesting there on that. So that was NVIDIA. And then Intel, I really didn't get a whole lot out of Intel this year. I wanted to get more, but I just didn't, you know. What I saw is that, you know, they announced their 10 nanometer processing technology, but, you know, AMD is already at 7, you know, and Intel's been talking about 10 nanometer for a couple years now, and they're just now getting into it. So I think they're kind of struggling there, but I mean, yeah, they're still killing it in the processor. You know, if you're looking for an all-out, you know, processor that can just crush anything you throw at it, Intel's the way to go if you got the money to spare. You know, the 9900K is amazing, freaking amazing. But they're going to call that Ice Lake, and it's going to arrive at the tail end of 2019. Should be available for the holiday season. And then, you know, there's been rumors here for AMD or for Intel about getting into the GPU market. And, you know, I've been seeing on a lot of forums and a lot of other, you know, YouTube guys that I watch. And, you know, they're talking about sometime in 2020, you know. So that's right around the corner. That's next year. So, you know, if we can get another manufacturer into the GPU wars and force NVIDIA to bring those prices down, heck yeah, man, more power to it. So that's the wrap up here of, or recap rather, of CES 2019. Now, why do I choose AMD? As I said at the beginning of the video, I'm a huge AMD fan. I'm an AMD nut. And why do I prefer them? Basically, it just comes down to price for performance. You know, again, they're fighting on two fronts. They're fighting the GPU war and they're fighting the processor war. And they're doing a heck of a good job. You know, to me, I love a good underdog, and I feel like they're the underdog in this, and so I want to support them. But that does not mean that I'm solely all about AMD. I mean, I have an Intel computer and I have NVIDIA parts, NVIDIA GPU. So I've used them all and I like them all, but I just prefer AMD just because I like the underdog. Well, anyway, that's all that I have time for today. As always, go ahead, like, subscribe, share. You know, that helps me bring you more content. If you have any ideas of what you want to see me do next, you know, I'm all for it. You know, leave it in the comments. But, you know, that's it for today. You know, we'll see you on the next one.